Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Let me get framed up. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Black Friday. Glad that you are tuned in, Debbie Jones and Kate Kelly and Tammy and Jamal. Hello, Jamal and Sean. Nice to see the gang is all intact. Hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. It is a beautiful day as I look out the windows. Beautiful day. We needed all that rain, right? In the northeastern part of the country. Gang, looking for something to do today? How about the Parks Casino in Shippensburg? Check out the Parks Casino in Shippensburg, which is central Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania's newest casino. They've got free live entertainment every weekend, including tonight. Friday night is comedy night. Funny lady and headliner Tracy Locke. Parks Casino Shippensburg tonight. Every Saturday night, Parks Casino has live music. Tomorrow, it's Stephanie Rhodes and That Guy performing live. Who is that guy? Go and see. Now you can bet sports on the Bet Parks kiosks in the Side Pocket. Catch all the football action every weekend starting at noon and enjoy the Side Pocket Stadium menu all weekend long. Parks Casino, Shippensburg, if you're in Western Maryland, Northern Virginia, Hagerstown, Winchester, Chambersburg, et cetera, anywhere in Pennsylvania, you'll get lucky in no time at all. And it's smoke-free. Less than an hour from Harrisburg, the state capital. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So, you know that I was so proud of yesterday's poll question, the Thanksgiving poll question. If you could watch just one, the National Dog Show or Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, this is like, you're on a desert island and you get one object or one album. Which is it going to be? Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade or the National Dog Show? I love the result. We had 24,718. That's a lot of voting for a holiday. And it was relatively close, 55-45. 54.94% said Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I watched them both, and I love them both. Macy's is more just good, background viewing. You could be doing other things, talking to people, doing some work, and just the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which I'm thrilled they got in despite the rain, was fun to have in the background. The National Dog Show requires more attentiveness, especially if you want to pay attention to Vito the Pug, who won Best in Show. Did you see that little pug? It's so funny. I love the dog people. I love the whole cast of characters who are associated with it. So my vote was for Macy's in the end. In the end, I was for Macy's, but I could live with either, and I love them both. And what I most enjoy is the fact that those television events, both of them, have become must-see in a way that other TV shows have not been able to generate the kind of uniformity of audience. I went through yesterday the ratings data in small part, and I said that it's not a red state thing. It's not a blue state thing. Everybody enjoys the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I don't know the geographic dispersion. That's not the right word. Viewing of the National Dog Show. But I bet it's the same because we all love dogs, right? We all love dogs. All right. Much heavier today. A great poll question. I'm really proud of this one too. And again, something I said in the chat, something I didn't think we'd ever be talking about. The San Jose Spartans women's volleyball team. Really? But we are. And this is a little more nuanced now on the whole issue of trans inclusion in athletics. It goes beyond just the should so-and-so be able to participate? Should Leah Thomas be able to swim at Penn? It's a little more nuanced. Here's the question. Should college sports teams that feel disadvantaged by an opponent's inclusion of transgender athletes compete or forfeit matches in protest? Because a number have been forfeiting in protest. And we're going to find out for tomorrow, Saturday, whether the opponent of the Spartans is going to forecast. And this is for the championship. So it's a strategy question. Okay, they feel like they are being infringed upon. How should they handle it? Compete anyway or forfeit to really send a message? From Outkick, here's the background. In a stunning turn of events, the Boise State Broncos women's volleyball team announced that it will forfeit its semifinal match in the Mountain West tournament against San Jose State. Although the team did not specify the reason for the forfeit, it's obvious. SJSU has a trans-identifying biological player in Blair Fleming on the team. The Broncos forfeited twice against SJSU during the regular season, but the prevailing thought was that the team wouldn't forfeit during the conference tournament and end its hopes of reaching the NCAA tournament. In forfeiting, they now forego any opportunity of getting to the NCAA tournament, the big bracket for volleyball. The decision to not continue to play in the 2024 Mountain West Volleyball Championship Tournament was not an easy one. Our team overcame forfeitures to earn a spot in the tournament field and fought for the win over Utah State. This, according to the Boise State Athletics in a statement. They should not have to forego this opportunity while waiting for a more thoughtful and better system that serves all the athletes. There was a column in USA Today earlier in the week before the latest forfeiture written by Nancy Armour that's getting a lot of attention. So I want to give you a couple of paragraphs of this. And by the way, after we put the newsletter to bed, the New York Times came online today with a lengthy story giving all the background on this controversy. I'll probably put it in the Saturday newsletter. This is Nancy Armour in USA Today. San Jose State's volleyball team has included a transgender woman. The Mountain West Conference created a participation policy for transgender athletes back in 2022, which included forfeit as a punishment for refusing to play a team with a transgender athlete, and athletic directors at every school in the conference agreed to it. Yet not until this season, after the player had been outed by a right-wing website and then thrown under the bus by one of her own teammates, did the howling and forfeits begin. This is an important point, so I'm going to repeat it. And she did. And then this is the way that Nancy Armour concludes her column, which has drawn a lot of ire. She said, San Jose State is the number 2 seed in the Mountain West Conference tournament, which begins on Wednesday, meaning 2 days ago. The Spartans have a bye in the first round and will play either Boise State or Utah State on Friday. Again, they're not playing Boise because Boise forfeited. Those are 2 of the schools that forfeited games during the regular season, which means we're about to find out how committed to the bigotry those teams are. For all the shrieking there is about transgender women athletes, it's the cisgender women pushing the forfeits who cost their fellow athletes opportunities to play and saddled their teams with the losses. It's those women, not the San Jose player, who are the real threat. So Nancy Armour's position is if you're a female playing with a trans female teammate and you're not being supportive, or you're on the other team and you're forfeiting rather than playing against her, you're the real threat. And you can imagine a number of people, quote, is your brain really that broken? Women standing up for women isn't hysteria, said another. Nancy Armour is the misogynist who hates women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But my view on this, I will repeat in short form, is that we want to strive toward inclusion, but not at the risk or not at the sacrifice of fairness. I have to say, I find it to be pretty gutsy for a team, for the members of the team, these volleyball players, it's a serious sport. They invest a lot of time. It's the kind of thing where they're groomed from an early age to play competitively. You get to college, you're in a big program, you want to go to the NCAA tournament, and you're willing to step back and forfeit because you just don't believe it's fair. And by the way, from what I've read, this is not really a Leah Thomas situation insofar as Leah Thomas competing as a male before transitioning was not dominant. In fact, was very mediocre. But competing as a female was dominant. This player, from what I'm reading, is not so dominant, but they're saying, hey, we need to take a stand because it's just not a fair thing to do. And we can't let this grow into more of an issue. I think it's gutsy to say we feel so strongly about it that we're willing to sacrifice our own team opportunity to get into the NCAA tournament. My view, and I said this on CNN last weekend in the context of Nancy Mace, I thought, having said some appalling things relative to Sarah McBride, who was the first trans member elected to Congress after having been the first trans elected anywhere to a state senate. I found Nancy Mace's comments about Sarah McBride just to be horrible and self-serving and not where Nancy Mace was, according to her social media feed just a couple of years ago. I also said that Kamala Harris's campaign was caught flat-footed by the Trump campaign in saying Kamala Harris is for they, them, Donald Trump is for you. And she had no response. And in short order, I said, here's what Kamala Harris should have said, or here's what I would say. What I would say, big picture, is the taxpayer funds shouldn't be used for transitioning of the incarcerated. Remember, that was the whole commercial that Trump was running against Kamala Harris. Second, as I've said many times here on radio, on television, that when it comes to athletics, the goal should be inclusion, but not at the expense of fairness. And in the Leah Thomas case, where the trans swimmer at the University of Pennsylvania soared from like a mid 500s ranking in men's competition to one of the top ranked female swimmers, that was fundamentally unfair and put others at a disadvantage. What's my third point? My third point is that we need to emotionally support all those facing questions about gender identity, especially our youth, but we need to be cautious before we embrace any type of life-altering, non-reversible medical treatment for minors who are diagnosed with gender dysphoria. But most importantly, that we're not going to sit idly by while some among us, meaning the trans community, are preyed upon because of their small size of the population. And we're not going to allow them to be used as fodder in culture wars, because that's horrible. And when I hear callers who call me and they say, well, they're only 1% of the population. And I say, all the more reason why we need to protect them. Like, we don't have a constitution in this country looking out for the will of the majority. Study that constitution. The real intent and purpose is to protect, the minority among us, and to make sure that some type of a mob mentality doesn't trample their interests and their rights toward, life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. Now, on the fundamental question that I'm asking, so my point is this: how do I see a case like this? Bottom line, I see a case like this as, let's be inclusive if we can. But if we can't, if fairness gets trampled in the process, then women's volleyball is just not going to be an area where a trans athlete can compete. Sorry, I wish that it could, but it's not. And the more particular question that I'm asking today is, should college sports teams, so now you're going to compete against the San Jose Spartans and you feel disadvantaged, or you're going to compete against the Penn swimming team and Leah Thomas, and you feel disadvantaged, what do you do? Do you compete anyway, or do you forfeit your matches in protest? That is the poll question today. And I have to say, if you really want to bring this issue to the fore and try and force probably courts to have to determine how they should be handled, then forfeit. But what a remarkable remedy to have competed junior high, high school, you get to college, you're in a big program. Like, this is your whole reason for existence in a university community. And now you're willing to step back from it. I find that powerful. I find that powerful. And to surrender your team. And it's not as if we're talking about like a 1-9 team and they say, well, we're going to forfeit. Okay, forfeit. Who cares? No, we're talking about teams now in the championship and on the verge of going to the NCAA tournament. So it'll be really interesting to see the way this question pans out today. Yeah, really, really interesting. Richard in Japan, compete and lodge a protest. But Richard, I don't know if your protest is going to be taken. Richard, if you compete and lodge a protest, and this is going to sound, I don't know, lacking in humility on my part, so be it. But Richard, if you compete and you lodge a protest Am I talking about you? Are you now a poll question at Smerconish.com? I'm looking at a television monitor and they're all over it today. And the New York Times is huge. If it were simply compete and lodge a protest, I don't think it brings it to the fore. I mean, this is really like a Sun Tzu kind of a thing. It's a matter of political strategy. If you really want to bring this now to a point of determination, I think doing what they're doing at the sacrifice of their own outcome. Who's to say they don't compete with the San Jose Spartans, beat them, and advance on to the tournament now? But they're foregoing that right, and I find that powerful. I find that powerful. Jamal, which gains more attention to support your cause? Compete and get trounced, or forfeit? I would say forfeit. Forfeiture, as long as you're a team of substance and success. If you're a losing team and you do it earlier in the season, nobody's paying attention. But tomorrow is the championship game. And as I sit here speaking to all of you, we don't know. We don't know what the San Jose opponent is going to do. I'm going to be all over this on CNN tomorrow, I'm sure. Can I take a quick peek? One last thing. Just give me 1 second. I hope I'm not going to throw off my my connection. I want to take a look. I really don't know how this is going. We're doing it live, baby. We're doing it live. First of all, are you still there? Yeah, you're still there. All right. Hang on. I can only type with one hand, damn it. I just want to take a quick peek and see which way this is going, because I have no idea. No idea. Smerconish poll. Yeah, here we go. Now we're talking. I am going to cast my ballot for forfeit as a matter of strategy. Let's see. Should college sports teams that feel disadvantaged by an opponent's inclusion of transgender athletes compete or forfeit matches in protest? Oh, interesting. Very interesting. It is running 51.5 to 48.5. 51.5 to 48.5. So it's a barn burner, which is great because I love when there's a legitimate divide. Hey gang, thank you so much for joining me for a couple of minutes on this Black Friday. Go out and do some retail therapy and help the economy. Just don't buy a bunch of crap. Like, I'm watching the morning shows today and it's like, hey, here are 10 gifts. And I'm saying, like, if I got any one of those 10 gifts, it's the kind of thing where I'm enjoying it. And in 6 months or a year, I'm like, who can I give this to? Better to go small and thoughtful. Small and thoughtful. And if you don't have, here's another tip. If you don't have a particular gift in mind for somebody in the family, how about an experience? And it need not cost money. Like, if I got a couple of coupons from our kids to go on a hike, I'd be thrilled, as long as they mean it. Hey, Dad, I'll go with you fishing for a day of your choice. Here's a coupon you can redeem anytime in the spring. That's a hell of a gift. I love that gift. All right. Have fun. Eat leftovers. Vote on the poll question of the day. And I must say, last thought that I will share, especially with those of you who are hardcore, the Sean Nichols and the Jamal Haycocks who are here each and every day. I'm enjoying the opportunity to come on and speak solely on that day's poll question. I'm working out some bugs and some kinks, and I haven't thought through. Well, I have thought it through, but I haven't reached conclusions as to timing. But I'm going to do more of this. All right. Like what you're seeing, please. If you like it, like what you're seeing. PJ would want me to ask you to do that. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, 7:30, before the CNN program, focusing on that poll question of the day. All right. Peace out, Johanna Gaskins. See ya.